Okay, so now we're getting into the polar equation graphs. For today, you're going to just be looking at, can I look at an equation and identify the shape that it makes, and kind of the general sketch of it. It's not going to be perfect, but you're going to have the key points. They're pretty cool. If you think about a circle, it's just going to be r equals some number, or r equals n. Or it could be r equals some number times sine of theta, or cosine of theta. All of these, I put sine, they could easily be cosine. Sines are going to be oriented on the y-axis, so vertically. Cosines will be oriented along the x-axis. We've got cardioids, which are kind of the heart shape. Notice these are the same numbers, plus minus, does not matter. It's just going to flip it or reflect it across one of the axes. Sine could easily be cosine. Limacons are kind of like the, I think of them like a heart with a loop. They're going to have different numbers. That's how you're going to know. Everything else will look the same. These two are very similar. A cardioid is basically a limacon without a loop, or a limacon is a cardioid with a loop. Lemniscates are easy to pick out. They're squared. People think of them as the infinity sign. I like to think, I just say lemniscates are a figure 8 because it rhymes. And then the rose or the flower is going to look very similar to a circle because it really is a circle, but there's going to be a number in front of theta, and that's going to tell me how many petals. If it's an odd number, that's how many petals. Hopefully we figured that out. If it's even, then we double petals. So if this number was a 2, there'd be 4 petals. If this number was a 3, there would be 3 petals. So if we just look down this list, I'm going to go through and just kind of identify, and then we'll sketch a couple of them. So the first one could be a circle or a rose, but this number right in front, right there, tells me that that's actually a rose, not a circle, and it's going to have 8 petals. Cosine, so it's going to start along the x-axis, and then we're just going to go from there with my 8 petals. This one, should have been r equals. I've got 2 different variables, so that tells me it's a limacon. If we wanted to sketch it, I'll show you a quick sketch of what it's going to look like. You always add these 2 values together, and that's how far out it's going to go. Then you find the difference between the 2, and that's how big the loop's going to be. So since it's a sine, it's going to be oriented up and down. If it was a plus, it's going to go up, and since it's a minus, it's going to go down. So we start at the origin. My whole limacon is going to go down to -6, because 2 plus 4 is going to give me -6. The little loop at the top is going to go to -2, because the difference between 4 and 2 is 2. So then I usually start, oh geez, that's a bad limacon, but that's the general shape. It looks like a heart with a loop, or a lima bean. Then we got the same number, that's the cardioid. We could do the same thing to sketch that. I'll put him over here. This is number 3. So it's 3 plus 3, and it's a cosine. So I'm going to start at the origin. 3 plus 3 is going to give me 6. It's a positive, so I'm going to go out 6 in the cosine direction. And we're just going to go do the best we can, draw our little cardioid, and we're done. Pretty easy to sketch. This guy right here, 3 sine, that's a circle. If we wanted to sketch him, number 4 with my circle, because it's got the sine, that means it's going to go up 3, centered at the origin, and that's that circle right there. Pretty quick to sketch. Moving right along. Number 5 is r squared. Right away, I know that's a lemniscate. Then if you wanted to, you could sketch that out as well. It's sine, so oriented. Actually, it's going to be oriented diagonally. The square root of 4 tells me I'm going to go out 2, and you would have your polar graph, so you'd go out 2 rings, and you've got your infinity sign, or figure 8. Here we have another, look at this, we have another rose. It's going to be going down, and there's going to be 5 petals. So let me put him over here. What number is that? 6. So we start at the origin. Each petal's got a width of 3. So there's 1 petal. We're going to have 2. Oh, this might be off. There's 3, 4, 5. And all of these go out 3 units. This one, it's got the square root, so if we were to square both sides, there's another lemniscate. Number 8, we have 2 variables, a and b, so that's my limacon. it would go along the x-axis in the positive direction on the right side and go on a total of 6 because 1 plus 5. And then the loop is actually going to have a distance of 4, so that's a pretty big loop. So there's my loop, and there's my limacon. Number 9, we got the same numbers, another cardioid. And then number 8, we've got, it looks like it could be a rose or a circle, but remember you look in front of theta, there's nothing, so that tells me it's a circle, or it's a rose with one petal, which is a circle.